25,000 subscribers. 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's what I discovered, or that's the barrier or target I hit this morning. And it's a target I've been looking at balls for a long time. It's a target that I've had in my sights, and I've been wondering when will I reach it, when will I reach it. And this morning, having my breakfast, I noticed that I'd gone through the 25,000 subscribers barrier on YouTube. This fucking bag is falling apart. Yep, 25,000 subscribers on YouTube is a target, as I say, I've had in mind a long time. I've been watching, and over the last few days, over the Christmas there, today's the 2nd of January 2024. Over the Christmas I have been pumping out a lot of videos and have increased the number of subscribers significantly just in the last week or so, sheerly through pumping out more videos. And obviously the videos that I have been putting out have been well received by people and have brought in more subscribers, so I'm delighted with that. Today is the 2nd of January 2024. It's 9 minutes to 6. I want to be in Enfield in the office at 6 o'clock or before it, not after it, not a minute past, not 2 minutes past. I want to be in there at 6 or before. So that's the target.
Their identity was stripped away, they would be softer putty.
I'm uploading a video there at the moment to my YouTube channel, and it is a video that I know is not going to do that well. It's a video that I know is not going to be the most popular, but it's a video that may well, down the line, sooner or later, bring in some business, significant business to me. The name of the video is Immigration to Ireland for Business Purposes. And it basically talks about the various schemes and the various ways that a business person coming from the UK or from the EU or from outside the EU can come to Ireland for business purposes. There's various schemes and there's entrepreneurship programs and so on to encourage inward investment. I know this is not going to be the most popular video because it's going to appeal to very few people. But the few people that it does appeal to, it's going to make a lot of sense for me to make the video, upload it, have it on my channel, and as I say, sooner or later it's going to be thrown up by YouTube to a searcher who is looking for the very thing that this video talks about, and that's where clients come from. So my YouTube channel is a mixture of videos that are popular and a mixture of videos that are pretty much focused and may not be that popular, but can be lucrative in terms of generating clients. That's the whole purpose of it. Initially, at least initially, that was the whole purpose of it. Now I enjoy making the videos and I make vlogs and so on as well, so that is something that I just enjoy and sort of do it now as a pastime or a hobby, and to try and improve a bit and try and get them a little bit better each time and so on. So, you know, what originally started out as a marketing tool in my business to build my business and build my brand has turned into a sort of a hobby or a pastime that I actually quite enjoy. And you'll see a lot of experimentation and a lot of different changes, small changes perhaps in 2024 on my YouTube channel. Little incremental changes that I think will improve a video or the range of videos or the topics, etc. So that's what I'm planning in 2024 with my YouTube channel anyway. But I'm delighted to reach and smash through the barrier of 25,000 subscribers, because that's the sort of a target that I've been looking at there for ages, like for months. I've been checking every morning, like, you know, where am I now? And I can see the increase, but over the last few weeks I just put up so many videos, and some of them have been very popular. They've been shown by YouTube to new viewers, and therefore I've got new subscribers, and that's where they've all come from. So now, time for the first coffee of 2024. First coffee in the office anyway. Got this coffee in the Coffee Well. The Coffee Well used to be the Wells Hotel in Enfield. And a few years ago there, when I started here first in this practice, in 2013 I think it was, started here 10 years ago now, or 10 years ago during 2023. There was no coffee shops the far side of the street. And now we have a very competitive environment. We have 3 coffee shops. One is Nomad just across the street there. The next one is Black Dog Coffee. And then we have the Coffee Well. So this one comes from the Coffee Well. So I normally go to Nomad, but Nomad's not open there this morning yet. It's 9:15 actually. I'm surprised they're not open yet. The other 2 places are open, but so this is the Coffee Well. It's not bad now, it's okay. It's an Americano, so it'll do fine. Get the engine started anyway, get the hamster up off the wheel, and the wheel is spinning. It's not bad now. She works in the back there. You want to be in my video, Josephine?
Nope. I'm not having a good hair day today.
It's 1 o'clock there now, so feeding time at the zoo, feeding lunchtime. So today I have this sourdough sandwich. So the sourdough bread that I made myself, it has Irish beef and Swiss Emmental cheese in it. And unfortunately I have no tea bags. I just discovered I have no tea bags, so I have to settle for coffee today. I normally don't have coffee with my lunch. I normally have tea with my meals, so that's a bit of a bummer. So my sourdough sandwich though is going to be a good time. So it's a sourdough, wholemeal sourdough with walnuts. You can see the walnuts there in it, and it's got Irish beef, and it's got Swiss Emmental cheese in it. And I have a cup of coffee there as well, although I would much prefer if I had tea. So anyway, I'm not going to go out in the rain. It's miserable all day. And one piece of good news that came in there just before lunch, this land registry application has been going on for a long time. There's a client of mine who bought a property, registry of deeds property, and there's been a lot of difficulties with the registration, first registration, which is required, but thankfully it came through, and I'm just looking at the maps there now attaching to the folio, so that's a good start. Very, very busy today. I thought it would be a quiet enough day, but we're pretty busy, and that's it. Going to have lunch now. Looking forward to it. Enjoy my lunch. I have my lunch here every day in the office. As I say, it's a sourdough sandwich with cheese and Irish beef. Just having my lunch there, and as I always do when I'm having my lunch. I was listening to the news, the 1 o'clock news, and Brian Dobson on the 1 o'clock news, RTE obviously, had Archbishop Dermot Farrell on. Now, I've never heard of this gentleman before, and I wouldn't be all that well up on the religious and who occupies what position and so on. But I listened with interest to his discussion with Brian Dobson about migration and the fire that went on there in Ringsend over the last few days, where a particular property in Ringsend apparently was targeted for homeless people, but word had got out, incorrect information, disinformation was spread that it was for migrants, it was for asylum seekers and so on, and so the place was burnt, and we're looking at a question of an incident of arson now. But Archbishop Dermot Farrell, as I say, never heard of him before. He was very, very strong on failing to welcome the strangers, failing to welcome God. He was very strong about the rights of people who are not Irish, who are migrants, who are non-nationals, as it were, who are either voluntarily migrating or involuntarily migrating to Ireland. And he made the point about the amount of money that Ireland has benefited from the EU over the last 50 years or thereabouts, and we have an obligation under EU law to provide accommodation for asylum seekers and so on. But I must say I was very, very impressed with what he had to say. I was very impressed with his views about what we need to do as a society in terms of tackling the disinformation, the misinformation, the falsehoods, the lies that are being put about asylum seekers, about migration, about Ireland being for the Irish, about indigenous Irish and all that guff. He was very strong on that, and then I decided I'd look him up online just to double check his name, because I wanted to give him credit for that, and in my view he's entitled to a lot of credit. Archbishop Dermot Farrell. When I looked him up, it transpired that he's from Castletowngeoghegan in County Westmeath, which is not a million miles away from where I was born. And then obviously he went to school in St. Finian's College in Mullingar, which, as it happens, is where I went to school. So I'm glad that the education that he received in Finian's still stands him well, still stands him in good stead, and I'm heartened by the strength and enthusiasm with which he encouraged Brian Dobson and suggested that all of us have a role to play in terms of tackling the disinformation that's being spread around about Ireland being full, and about migration and asylum seekers and so on, and this absolute absurd situation of buildings being burnt down. I mean, did you ever in your life think that buildings would be burnt down because the rumour goes round that they're actually going to provide accommodation for somebody who is in need of accommodation? We're looking at a situation here where buildings like the hotel in Galway or that pub in Ringsend are no longer in use, are not trading, and there is a proposal to house somebody in the buildings, and yet the rumours go around and trouble is put into action, as it were, is put on wheels, and the next thing is the places are being burnt down. It's an appalling situation, and I'm heartened to hear that man, Archbishop Dermot Farrell, his comments there on the 1 o'clock news. And just to be clear about what I'm saying about asylum and migration, voluntary migration and involuntary migration is, and I'm going to paint it very, very plainly and very clearly. Firstly, we have a rules-based system in relation to asylum, residence, citizenship and visas, etc. to come into the country. Secondly, if somebody applies for asylum in Ireland, we have a legal obligation under EU law to provide them with accommodation. Now, as it happens, the Irish state, unfortunately, is failing in its duty, and I think I heard over 300 people have not been housed who are asylum seekers, I think a lot of them would be Ukrainians, not 100%, but over 300 people have been failed by the state, and the state has failed in its obligation under EU law to provide accommodation for persons who are applying for asylum. That's the law. It's the law of the land. It's what we signed up for when we entered the EU, and we took all of the money from the EU over the last 50 years or so. Then, you know, when you enlist, you may soldier. In other words, we took the money. We have obligations, and our obligations are to house asylum seekers. We have a rules-based situation in Ireland in relation to visas, in relation to residence, in relation to citizenship, and in relation to asylum. And anybody who tells you otherwise is talking absolute nonsense and is simply spreading disinformation and reflecting very, very poorly on the rest of us.